We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
All right. Let's find out what's going on with the Big Cheese. A little mozzarella, a little pizza, a little garlic rolls. That's really the Big Cheese we're really talking about right now when we talk about the Big Cheese. No, but seriously, all right, let's get into recruiting. Always a hot topic year-round. The transfer portal, NIL, recruiting, everything's going on. What do we got going on right now?
Well, listen, I've been telling you the last couple of weeks when we do this segment how Miami's basically trying to line up visits, right, for June and May. That's the busiest time of the year, the most important time of the year, because that's when you get these guys on campus, and then shortly after they decide, hey, I want to commit and be a part of the class. And what's happening now in college sports is while you still have flips, the guys that are the core members of the class, they basically decide a year in advance, right? You get your quarterback almost, 18 months ahead of time now. You get your big time offensive linemen and your big time defensive ends and cornerbacks and safeties. All those guys commit in May and June before their senior year. And pretty much you write it out with those guys and they help you recruit others. So right now, Miami's got over 30 guys lined up for official visits starting in the final weekend in May. And, when you start looking at this roster, and some of the positions that they need for the future, I always tell people, well, let's go back and look at who's going into year 3 on this Miami roster, right? What are the important positions on this team? Well, number one, running back. Mark Fletcher, about to enter his 3rd season. He's a big-time guy for you. You got Jordan Lyle back there. I think running back is a huge position. I think you look at wide receiver, you're really, really young there. You need to continue to add. You never know who's going to get in the transfer portal and leave. Offensive line, Francis Maui-Noah is going to be taking off. He's your starting right tackle. You're losing Inez Cooper. So offensive line is a big priority in this class. And I think from a defensive perspective, you're in pretty good shape right now between secondary, linebacker, and defensive line. But you could certainly use some edge rushers. Ruben Bain is a junior, right? He could go pro after next season. That's a big-time guy to have to replace. So to me, when I look at the 2026 recruiting class and the cycle for Miami, I think edge rusher, I think offensive tackle, I think running back, and then tight end and wide receiver, still positions that I think they need to continue to upgrade. So when you look at the guys that are on this list as far as early visitors, big name targets to keep track of if you're a Miami fan. Number one, I would say offensive line. I'm going to look through a list here as I'm sifting through it here. Big time guy from Miami, Brett College from Bradenton IMG Academy, 4-star recruit. A guy that I know Mario Cristobal and the staff really, really like and really, really want in this class. He'll be coming in at the end of the beginning of June to visit. You got Lamar Brown, a kid out of a 5-star offensive tackle out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Miami's trying to get the number 1 recruit in the country for 2026 to come here. He still hasn't committed to a visit, but Lamar is right now just a huge, big body guy, 6'5", almost 300 pounds, out of Louisiana. He's an important target for them. He'll be here the first weekend. You talk about running back, Derek Cooper, homegrown right here in South Florida, Hollywood Chaminade, 5-star running back, just a freak athlete, a guy who I personally think is very Sean Taylor-like to me when I watch him play. So he could be a safety or a running back, but I think he wants to play running back in college. So those are some early names for people to chew on, but you can check all of the names and information out. I don't do recruiting nearly as much as the 247s and the On3s, but you subscribe to any one of those services and you can see these lists, the complete list of all 30 guys that they've already got lined up. And so it's important. It's important to know who Miami is tracking from now up until those commitment dates in June and July, because these are the guys that they're after, and this is your future essentially.
No, I'm with you there. All right. So I'll wrap it up with this. Mario's heading into his 4th year.
Mhm.
Normally, by your 4th year, you should be pretty settled in with starters overall. And where are you with starters and depth, Manny? Because obviously, you first want to instill your culture. You want to get the right starters, and then you've got to turn over those starters. But
Yeah.
the other key thing is having quality depth. But you're fighting the whole NIL thing, and you got players that want to play and start and all that stuff, and people don't want to come to wait their turn and those kind of things, like the Luke Nichols of the world.
Mhm.
So where when you assess this Miami roster, how are they percentage wise when you look at their strength of starters and their strength of bench?
I think this team might be the deepest, most talented team that Mario's had yet. And I know you're going to look at me probably freaked out because Cam Ward just left, right? Xavier Restrepo just left.
You added the Georgia kid and Luke Nickel, who's
Yeah.
highly touted. So, yeah, you lost Cam, but you actually have 2 really good quarterbacks, supposedly.
Yes. And that's my point, is that Mario is still building this thing. When you start looking at it from a much bigger sort of
Overall picture.
perspective, right? From the top, you can see that they're deeper and more talented than they were last year. I think offensive line and defensive line depth has gotten so much better within what they've done the last 2 cycles, and ultimately, that's when I look at a team and I say, are they a contender? Can they dominate there? That's what I look at. And for me, last year, a lot of those defensive linemen that they got were freshmen, right? They were guys that just got in the door. Justin Scott just got here. Cole McConaughey just got here. Armando Blunt just got here. Booker Pick. These guys next year are going to be contributors. Some of them are going to be starters. And when they go into 2025, Miami has the chance to have one of the best defensive lines in the country. In terms, not 2025, but 2026. The offensive line this year, very, very good. But I look at it and I say, man, what is the next chapter when Inez Cooper and Francis Mauigoa are gone, right? Those are the questions I have, because Samson Okunlola hasn't played yet. He's going into his 3rd year. He might take off via the portal. You got Tommy Kinsler going into his 3rd year, hasn't really played yet. Derek Plaz, Susu Alafatul, those guys. So I look at it like, Miami's had a really good offensive line the last 2 years or so, last 2 or 3 years, but that group is about to leave. Meanwhile, the defensive line is catching up. So it's going to be an interesting year for Mario. They've got to really hit on some big time recruits on the offensive line, which is why I brought up those 2026 targets, because I like the defensive line. I'm a little more concerned about the offensive line. And then, skill position wise, you've got a lot of young guys in there at the receiver position. You got a lot of young guys at tight end, but they got to prove themselves this year. I got to see them take the next step forward. So I like the overall direction of the program. I think he's doing it the right way. He's got a lot of depth. He's got guys that are bought in. They really haven't lost too many guys to the transfer portal the last few years. But this is a big year in terms of how they recruit and who they target in the transfer portal after this season is over on the offensive side of the football, so that when your young quarterback takes over next year, he's not sitting back there running for his life. Luke Nickel needs some guys to protect him. So I'm interested to see the development. And Alex Mirabal and Mario do a great job, obviously, developing guys. But I think that's what I want to see. When I go to spring football, I'm going to be in particular looking at Tommy Kinsler, Samson Okunlola, Derek Plass, all the guys, the offensive linemen that have been here now for 2 years, eating, working out, doing all that. But I want to see, are they ready to take over when Francis Mauigoa and Cooper and those guys are all gone after next year?
All right. Follow him on Twitter, Manny_Navarro. What do you got going on in the Athletics so folks can check it out?
Yeah. Right now, this week, I'm personally off, but The Athletic has tons of stuff that has been coming out. We've continued our off-season breakdowns, recruiting stories. They just had a big piece on Bill Belichick and what his first few months on the job have been like at North Carolina in terms of the way he's trying to build that program. North Carolina is still in the ACC, haven't left yet. So I think you can check that story out.
You would have gotten Sam Amick's story on Pat Riley's.
Oh, yes, exactly. I'm not even thinking NBA. I'm thinking college football right now.
I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
I just want to include that you're going to get, The subscription includes everything. So,
Yeah.
Messi's now coming back, so you're going to get coverage there, all that kind of stuff. So it's not just Manny and the Canes and college football. You will get pro football, you'll get basketball, you'll get all kinds of stuff. They got all kinds of great writers there. So just in case, I want to throw it out there.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I'm glad you helped me out and reminded me of the Sam Amick article, because the NBA team does great work, and I covered the NBA for several years, and those guys invite me back. I covered the NBA Finals when it was Miami and Denver a couple years ago, and I love working with the NBA guys.
Yeah, definitely. Who doesn't enjoy going to Denver a little bit and have a little fun there, man?
Yep.
All right. Follow him on Twitter, Manny_Navarro. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll catch up on Tuesday, my friend. You be good.
You too, brother. Take care.
You got it. BigCheeseMiami.com. Gary, Billy, they've been doing it for over 40 years. And one of the things you're going to love about going to the Big Cheese, especially if you're a UM fan, it's like a little Hall of Fame, because the walls, man, they've got so much memories, so many different pictures and autograph pictures and magazine covers and posters and the memories of 40 years. So it'll blow you away, the stuff that you're going to see on the walls there. You could spend a couple of hours just checking out the walls at the Big Cheese, because it is like a Hall of Fame. So go check it out. The lasagna, the baked ziti, the fried mozzarella, the sauteed chicken, the chicken francais. I could just go on and on. The pizza, the garlic rolls are to die for. And, of course, you can also order any party platters, too. So if you're having a party, a get-together, or something like that for your business, your family, whatever, call the Big Cheese, 305-662-6855, and you can order. And, by the way, visit them, 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, for great food and amazing service. BigCheeseMiami.com.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!